everybody, this is Jewelyn and my grandma hanging out in the back here. Welcome back to my place here in Santa Monica, and I am really excited to have this set up for George, and we are dedicating a video specifically to fix up my big guy George. Now in the last video that we dedicated just for him, we put him into this big ceramic white planter, which is the biggest planter that I have in my collection. And since he's just grew really big and now he's leaning to the side, so with the help of my grandma, along with my new totem pole here, which is, I know a bunch of you guys recommended I could use for my Monstera. I have one here. I believe this is the biggest one that they do offer. I will go ahead and put a link in the description bar below if you're interested, and you can watch us refix George here. So I'm glad my grandma is here to help me with this because George is really big and he's super heavy. So we're gonna just spruce him up and fix him. I also have additional babies of him in different planters. If I can put it in with the mother plant, I'll go ahead and do that to make him more full. And then we're gonna switch up gears and then head to the airport. So we're doing this after work. I've been up since 4:30 this morning, and we are gonna fix him up and then fly to Arizona after this. So we're just gonna go ahead and just kind of work our way with pulling him out first. I do have my big potting tray here next to me, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step over it and maybe bring it towards where my grandma is at. So this is a team effort to fix George, and then we're gonna slowly undo all of his Velcro because he is Velcroed up, keeping him in what he was a tall position here, but he's grown so much. So I do have this plastic stake here. We'll use it in one area of today's project, but for the most part, we're gonna try to place him around the totem pole here. So with the help of my grandma and with my helping hands, I think what we should do is maybe get my shovel to kind of loosen up the dirt around him, and then we are going to empty out the planter. I know I'm getting like consumed by George here because he's so big. And we're gonna just loosen up the dirt. We're gonna really take him out because I want to see what's going on down here. He's so huge, and I want to really make sure that he is grounded in this planter to the best of his size, into this ratio of planter space here, and then get him lower so that he can stand up taller. And Monsteras are very forgiving plants. They grow wild in Hawaii. So now that we have George out and he has lots of roots, we're gonna go ahead and place all of the soil into my potting tray here to at least empty some of it out. So now that we got George out, I'm just kind of emptying the planter here so that we can get him deeper and hopefully put the rest of his babies back with him. So now that I see the bottom of the planter, we're gonna put some of the soil back in, not all. And I've given so many of my plant friends cuttings off of this particular guy. I believe Evelyn has a cutting. A bunch of plant friends of mine have cuttings, so I think that's good. I have about 3 inches of soil here. So let's go ahead and place George back. Now I kind of want to see if we can do it like one piece at a time here, so I can fix him to kind of be styled in a way that's going to work for his crazy ways. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, then you know George is a rescue, and when I got him originally, he was wild and crazy and spewed out like a murder scene. So that is the reason why he looks the way how he looks. But I'm going to try to see if I can, if possible. If not, looks like this is one big piece. We'll put him, no, this might be a separate piece. Yes. All right, here's another piece here. I'm just trying to style him back in here where he's gonna look nice and full with the current shape that he's at. I think that looks good. What do you think, Grandma? I think that looks good. So there's multiple pieces of this mother plant, and I'm just trying to stick him back in here where he's going to end up looking fuller than what he was naturally growing into. And this is such a satisfying project for me to do because he definitely needs it, and I want to keep him full. I think I want to turn maybe it looking, Grandma, on your end?
Okay.
Poor George. Now this guy,
What
yeah.
about the other one? You want me to pull it out?
Yes. So now we're going to work on this here. We're trying to stick him all back together. So his babies that were in 2 different planters, we're going to try to combine them so we can make it fuller. And you probably can't see me right now, but we're working on him nice and slow. All right. Good thing I got my apron and I am wearing clothes that I really don't care about. If they get dirty, it's fine. Okay. What's the status looking from up here? Does he look pretty full? Anybody we need to move around? I'm gonna say let's put him back in here. Yeah, Grandma? I think he would look good here. How's that? Let's look from the top point of view to see how he's looking. I think he looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and fill in dirt so that he can stand up. I think this is probably the best I've ever seen him. So let's use this up first here. This is something I have to do from the top here. And we're just going to fill in the planter. And then when it gets a little bit more stable with the soil in there, I'm going to incorporate the moss pole in the center, which is kind of like hard because this moss pole is not as big as George. I know you can attach a second one right above to extend it, but George is so heavy and big, it's going to have to be a combination between the pole that I originally had him up on with the moss pole. So we're gonna work with what we got here. Alright, so we got that. Now that we got him like that, let's put in a little bit more soil. We'll use the rest of the dirt from this planter. Okay, almost there, George. Just want to fill him up a little bit more, and then I'm going to incorporate the poles to help him out. This is probably the most messiest project to date. I think that looks good already. So now that we got this going on, and I'm pressing my palm right into the planter so that all of his parts are standing up nice and firm. And then we are going to get the moss pole, which looks like this. And we are going to put it in the center and then figure out a way to use this guy with the help of my original pole. And I'm going to use the Velcro tape that I love using, and it lives on my potting bench. So here's what the pole looks like. And then we're going to somehow stick it here in the center, right here. And then Grandma, you can come and figure out how to maybe Velcro certain pieces up to him here. And then I will use also this pole here for additional help. I think it's going to be
For the back.
Yeah.
Because
So-
this one is leaning down.
So let's see here. We have to figure out how to get him tall. So maybe if we get some Velcro tape to hold him up here, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I see a leaf I want to get out under here. Careful. Alright, so now I see what's going on here. I'm gonna get this pole right
In the back.
here. How's that if we do it right here? There. Perfect. Okay. So we're just using Velcro tape and then figuring out ways to attach him to my original pole here along with the new moss pole to get him nice and happy standing up to the best of his wild abilities. He was a lot worse looking when I got him way over a year ago. I think George was my biggest house plant for this new collection of mine that I got. But he was only on sale for $12 because he was a rescue. He was looking really crazy. How does it look already, Grandma?
It looks good.
Can I get one more?
Better than before.
I know. Poor guy. Can I get one more piece of Velcro?
Yeah.
One more. I think I want to do this guy. And also, side note, my grandma did fix my red Congo while I was at work today, so it's standing up nice and tall. I'll definitely have to do meet my plant episode featuring that big guy of mine, because my red Congo and George here, my Monstera, is the biggest guys in my collection. And you see the totem pole is already like tilting because the leaves are so heavy and big. But
come this side and put Velcro this side.
okay, let's see what we're working with here. So at this point, I'm probably going to just Velcro some of the leaves together, not necessarily onto the moss pole, just so that I can have them kind of upright. I see a new leaf unfurling here, and I think it looks so good. What do you think, Grandma?
Yes.
For what it is. Can I get another small piece of Velcro? Small.
Here. You want a cup?
No, I can use that. That's fine. I just see a small guy here that I want to help lift up here. We are going to attach it to here. Alright, George, you look better already. So we did several things here. We emptied out the planter so that we could get to the bottom of this problem. And then what we ended up doing was reusing the original totem pole that is just like a big wire plastic totem pole. It's heavy duty, it's super tall, which is perfect for George. And then we incorporated the moss pole, but literally I think for George, he's so big that like the moss pole is not really gonna do anything for him. It's just kind of like attached to one part of the plant, but that's about it. And then everything else, I just use Velcro to Velcro some of the leaves up together so that they're not hanging, to kind of help him to grow up and train him to grow at least up this way. Because when I originally bought him, he was spewed out like a murder scene. So I'm glad that I was able to put some of his babies back into the planter to make him nice and full. I don't have any other babies that are alone in planters. They are all back in here. I will go ahead and switch the point of view up close so you guys can see what we did. And then when we come back from Arizona, or when I come back from Arizona, we're gonna go ahead and give his leaves a wipe down. But my main concern was, while my grandma was here, was to help me spruce him up and add the pole and the additional babies back in. So here is the current look from this point of view. And I'm just gonna do a little walk over to where my grandma's at here and check out the point of view here. So George is now nice and full, all points of view. And as you can see, we incorporated the moss pole here, which there's not much happening here. I have this leaf here Velcro to here, but he's so big, like there's no way for me to wrap him around there to try to stimulate him to grow onto the pole. And then if you look here, I have my one big totem pole here that was originally with the plant. And then the rest of his babies that I took out in the beginning a couple months ago, they are grown really big, and I put them back in here to kind of just give him a fuller look. So here is the current point of view. Let's go on this end here so you can see what this looks like here. And then I'll definitely have to give him a wipe down because where he's at in my patio, the tree's right over him. But I think now that he's fixed up, Grandma, what do you say we put George in a different place, or maybe back to where he was, but a little bit more in between the wicker chairs, I think. So we're gonna clean up this space and wrap up the video. Right, so I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I got George all neatly spruced up to the best of his wild abilities with the help of my grandma. Thank you, Grandma, for helping me. We are going to put George back into his home position, which is between my Tiffany blue wicker chairs. And then when I come back from Arizona next week, I am going to give him a nice wipe down. I may also do that on a live. So if you're not following me at _ILOVEJEWELYN on Instagram, please do so. And by the way, my plant Instagram that I just launched yesterday is Planting with Jewelyn. So find me on Instagram, add me. I will be doing a giveaway soon, which requires you to follow me on both of my Instagrams. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Found it inspirational. George is a very wild and big monstera. He was like this when I purchased him, and I think as he grows bigger, I'm gonna have to redo it the same way, pulling him out and then refixing him to get him standing up to the best of his ability. But I did still incorporate my original wire tandem pole along with my moss pole and a bunch of Velcro tape to help him to be upright. But that's gonna wrap up the video. We are going to change into airport attire and head to the airport to fly to Arizona. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with my grandma and I was so glad I was able to do this episode of Planting with Jewelyn featuring my Monstera Georgia, my grandma, and her helping hands. And I am looking forward to filming more content with my grandma in Arizona. If you guys enjoyed this Planting with Jewelyn episode featuring my biggest Monstera George, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. You can find more on my blog at ilovejewelyn.blogspot.com. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, my grandma, and my big guy George. Bye!